Why is it important to understand Black history? I think it's important to understand Black history because of the fact that it's world history. It's not just American history. It's not just U.S. history. Black people created math. Black people created science. We engineered things that no one had ever thought of before, and keeping that history alive and keeping that history relevant to the next generation and giving them the ability to say, hey, Garrett Morrison created the stoplight. I can probably improve upon that and I can create something better. Giving them that hope to take it to the next level. Giving them the hope to take it to the next level is really big and really important. So that is why Black history is important. That's why it's important to understand, where we come from, all the things that we've gone through, all the things that we've endured, whether it be slavery, Middle Passage, whatever, even all the way back to Africa, understanding all of that or those aspects of it, that's really important. So
I think there's a few very important reasons why it's important to learn Black history. And the first is because to understand Black history is to truly understand some of the mistakes that have been made, some of the developments, the way that this country was built. And once you can truly understand that, I think there's a lot of learning lessons that can happen from that. There's the lessons of, what absolutely cannot happen again. What are the mistakes that need to not only be made sure they don't happen again and prevented in the future, but what are mistakes that maybe even need to be atoned for? You think about what are the things that happened correctly and successfully, and how do we mimic or how do we duplicate that in the future? I think that understanding Black history, as a Black person is important to understand that, we had history and legacy before we were slaves, and that, slavery was just a piece of our history. Slavery was not the start of Black history. We had a whole history before that. Slavery is a very small part of what happened. And I think that sometimes, like I said, a lot of people kind of view slavery as kind of like the start of Black history, for example. And so I think that it's also important to know to know your lineage, to know where you come from. It helps inspire, it helps motivate you, it helps you truly know what your potential is. And I think all of those things are very important.
Why is it important to understand Black history? I think it's important to understand Black history because we have to understand where we come from in order to know where we're going. I think that's a vital part of just being Black. We have to understand our culture so we can understand what to do differently in the future and how to, enhance ourselves so we won't be treated as we were in the past and escalate ourselves to become better individuals.
It's important to understand Black history because Black history is a part of our personal story as Black people, and it's part of our story as a nation. I would even go as far as say it's part of our story as the world, I think a lot of the times people think that Black history is this like separate sort of thing when it's not. It's just Black history is just part of history, just like Native American history, Asian history, and the different aspects of that depending on where in Asia you're from. Insert ethnic group here, their history is part of history, regardless of who they are. So Black history is not just this separate thing. It's part of the weave and the whole tapestry. It's also important, for Black people specifically, to know their history. So they have people to look up to. They know that they are more, I mean, when we learn about the inventors and scientists and athletes and artists and creators of all different fields, it's very empowering, because a lot of times our story is told as we were just slaves, and now we're not. But we're more than just people who were slaves, who were taken from our homes in Africa and forced to be in America. We're more than just that. So it's very empowering to know that you as a people have contributed so much to this world. And it's sad that a lot of people think that Black history is just summarized down to Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, the top 3 or 4 people, and not to take away from those people and their accomplishments, because they're very important. But there is just an endless list of Black faces who have contributed to things that we use every day, all the way to the advancements that we have in this world that allow us to live more comfortable lives. There is genius in Blackness. And Black history just can't be ignored, because Black history is just part of history.